What is going on, everybody? Michael here with Lawn Appreciation. Today, I have an awesome video for everyone where I am going to go over a slideshow presentation that we had created for everybody regarding how to prepare your lawn for fall grass seeding. Now, we are the time of this video, we are in mid-September, so we're pushing the timetable a little bit. However, I still think we still really wanted to get this out, and I still think it's really crucial for anybody who's still thinking about doing it. It's definitely not too late though to get the process going. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with this video. Before I begin, a couple of things. Number one is that this video, people have asked me like, what's the level of this video, as in like, is this better for beginners? Is this better for more advanced people? I would say it's probably more in the middle. I think catering more so to the beginner side versus the advanced side. I'm going to be going over the basics. However, I'm also going to be going a little more in depth with the basics as far and as well as like some more, a few advanced tips. So people that are looking for a little more information will find some forms of value within certain parts of the video for that as well. The second thing is, or actually there's going to be two other things. The second thing is that if you don't want to hear my beautiful voice and me going over this video, because the purpose of this video is to go over each step at a steady pace, so you can go ahead and read on with me and look on with me. However, if you don't want to do that and you want to just go at, do it for yourself, go at your own pace, and have the slideshow right in front of you, you can scroll down, and in the video description we did put our website there, so you can go ahead and click on that. It will take you to a page where you can go ahead and just look at the slideshow yourself and don't have to worry about watching this video. The third thing is that actually going off of that, to try to help you watch the video more, is that I also put a timetable of contents, timestamp table of contents in the video description. So if there's a part of the video set up in 7 different parts, and there's a part of the video that you already know about, like, hey, listen, I already know how to fertilize, I don't need to listen to this loser, then you can go ahead and click on the timestamp below in the video description. You can just go ahead and skip to the part that you're looking for. So without further ado, let's get this show on the road. Going to be using good old Canva today. That's where we made a presentation. Absolutely love this program. It's definitely the good stuff. Definitely the good stuff. So going into it, here's the beautiful cover photo for you guys to go ahead and marvel at for a little bit. Look at this awesome fonts. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. So all right, so outline of topics, necessary steps. So these steps are in order as well, if that's a question that you had. The steps are this. We're going to be going over 7 key topics, starting from performing a soil test, eliminating weeds, spreading lime. It's optional, but we're still going to discuss it. Applying a fertilizer, perform the actual aeration and spreading grass seed acts, and then afterwards optimizing your watering schedule. So these steps are before, during, and afterwards. Before, during, afterwards, and we're going to go over all of them. So what you need to do before you do your aeration seeding, the aeration seeding itself, what you need to be doing during that, and then afterwards on how to optimize with watering and other acts that you need to be taking. So going into it, number 1, performing a soil test. Now, if you follow me and lawn appreciation, this is like a religion to me. This is something I preach all the time. The performing soil test is so crucial. I really recommend doing it at least once a year for your lawn, whether you do it yourself or you take it to a local lab. Going off of these 3 tips right here, the results will determine what type of fertilizer you should apply as well as how much. When you do a soil test, it will tell you what nutrients it has and what it doesn't have, and so that'll give you kind of a base to go off of as far as, okay, so what should I be applying? What should I be putting down? And as well as how much should I be applying? So and going extending off of it, tip number 2 for that, it'll let you know the pH of your soil. Now, the pH of the soil is something you've probably heard of before. It's the most common component of a soil test discussed when it comes to lawns and grass and things along those lines. The pH is pretty much, going off the description again, measure of the acidity and alkalinity. And What that means is this, is that if your pH is not between a certain range, and that range is around 5.5 to 6.5 is usually a safe bet. If it's below 5.5 or over 6.5, like I'm talking about way over or way below, it does affect the soil's nutrient availability. And what that means is this, is that it affects how much of the nutrients the soil can actually absorb. And the problem with that is this, is that if you have poor pH in the soil, even if you spread the fertilizer correctly, even if you go off a soil test, let's say you go off a soil test, it tells you what type of fertilizer to put down. You go off of, you spread it perfectly, you've measured your yard and everything, your lawn and everything as well. And it is just that, I mean, you're the boss. You just put that boy down perfectly. If the pH of your soil is out of whack, you're only going to get so much out of it. Even through all that hard work on making sure that you spread it evenly across the lawn, that the potential is going to be too low because the pH is already poorly done. So it's really important that you fix the pH beforehand if you have the time, and I'm going to be going into that more too if you have the time. The third tip, you'll save a lot of money, time, and other precious resources again, because the soil test will tell you how much to put down, as well as if the pH of it's bad, that maybe you should take care of that first before you put the fertilizer. It's going to save you a lot of headache that way as well. Going right into the next one, how you can perform a soil test. Now, there's different methods of doing so. I am going to discuss 3 of the most popular methods of doing it. Starting from the double needle soil test, it's the easiest one. It's it's most of the time the least expensive one. Pros, they have inexpensive. You get quick results. They're easy to use. The cons, they break really easily. If you have one of these before, they're really popular. If you put them in the ground, you put the prongs, especially in ground that's really hard, sometimes they will break off of that. So that's really something that you need to be watching out for. The lack of features. The thing with the double needle soil testers is that they're great for what they do. I have one myself. I use it sometimes for these specific features. However, the only things that it can really do is measure the pH, measure the moisture level, and measure the amount of light, which is pretty cool. As great as those 3 things are, the problem is that if you really want to get that in-depth and accurate result for a soil testing optimized on the aeration and seeding, it's not enough. You're going to need more than that to do so. So it's great to have if you're just trying to look for the pH and the moisture levels and such, if you want to fix the watering in the ground to make sure the soil is not cracked. But if you're looking for more than that, especially for aeration and seeding, when it comes to time for that, it's not something that I would recommend relying on fully. The second option here is a capsule soil test kit. These are also extremely popular as well. You can buy them off Amazon. I put 2 links as well over there. So if you go to our website and you do check out the slideshow, you can go ahead and click on those links right there. The pros of the capsule soil test kit, they provide accurate results. They're more accurate than the double needle soil tester. Plenty of options, and just for that alone, there's more options. You can do beyond just the pH and the moisture. You can measure the amount of phosphorus. You can measure the amount of potash. Those are 2 really key elements. And it's still beginner friendly. Like, it's still really easy to use. Probably not as easy as a double needle soil test. You just pop that thing in. You could wait 10 minutes, but this is still really simple to use. It might take a few extra steps, and that's one of the cons, I would say. Just a little bit more, but it's not too bad. I would say probably the biggest con of the capsule soil test kit, and this really depends on the person, is the color-based results are not always clear. I'm not sure if you guys can see right here, but if you notice the colors right there, the green doesn't look too bad, but if you look at the blue, the pinkish, and the orange one, those are some of the colors for the results, and they can look really similar to someone if you're not careful. So I would say that's probably one of the bigger cons of it if you're not really good at differentiating the colors. But if you are, then they're absolutely perfect and they work really well. My favorite method is probably taking it to your local agronomic lab. Now, I'm over here in North Carolina, in Raleigh, North Carolina, and we have a really close university, NC State University, and they have an amazing agricultural program, and thus they also have an awesome agronomics lab that I work with closely, and I take all my results there for both myself and for my clients. So it's the most accurate of the three. I would say these guys really know what they're doing. I can't speak for other labs. Hopefully if they're in a local agronomics lab, they know what they're doing. But I'm pretty sure they do. It's plenty of useful information, even more than the capsule soil test kit. They really give you a lot of stuff. They go way more in depth with it. Some of the stuff you don't necessarily need to know to get really great results for the aeration seeding, but it's still good to have. The cons, you need to physically drop off the samples. At least with my lab, there's no delivery method. It's like you can't package it and just like mail it to them. At least I don't think you can, but for now, like you do need to physically go by over there. And the other con is like the results can take a long time. If you're in a hurry, and you really need to get the fertilization if you wait a little too long, you need to get the fertilization or the lime or the aeration seeding done. The soil test can take 2 to 3 weeks to get done. That might be a little too long for people to wait. So that's another thing to keep in mind. However, if you do have the time to wait for it and you don't mind just making a little extra trip and stopping by over there, this is really the way to go. So check to see if you have a local agronomics lab near where you live. Now, we're going to go into objective number 2, eliminating weeds. Now, you need to get rid of weeds. You probably heard before that, hey, listen, should I seed my lawn? Because if I don't, if I do and I have weeds all over the lawn, like, will it help the weeds grow? And that's not really the reason for it, but it's still, it's definitely a good one to keep in mind. Look, going off the 3 tips over here, weeds taking crucial nutrients away from the grass seedlings. Now, the thing with soil is it's like the human body. You can only really put so many nutrients on it at once, and even if you put a ton of nutrients on it at once, it's like us. We can only absorb and metabolize so much, right? So while the nutrients that are available in the soil at the time, you guys know how weeds are. Weeds spread like wildfire, so they need a lot less nutrients than grass does. Like it requires a lot less to work with. I mean, these things it could be just hot, and it could be a drought, and it could be like your soil could be cracked to the brim, and weeds will still find a way to grow. And so that's one thing to really keep in mind, that you need to eliminate these guys and get rid of them in order for the grass seedlings to grow properly. Blocking an entryway for the grass seed to properly be planted, that's another thing too, because weeds have, depending on the type of weed, some of them have larger foliage than others. It's not as big deal as the first tip I just said, but it's still something to keep in mind. And honestly, it just doesn't look good. And if you're one of those people that you love a lawn full of clover, some people really do. I mean, they even have bags that you can go ahead and spread, and it's clover, and it'll spread clover across the lawn for you. That it's really popular in certain areas and among certain people. However, if they just don't have that aesthetic appeal as a whole, and I'm one of those people that I just love grass way more, regardless if weeds are green or not. So it's just, it's for the aesthetic value of it as well. Steps to getting rid of weeds. Now, without going too in depth, the step number 1, obviously weed identification. You need to know like what kind of weeds you have. Some are really easy to tell. I mean, you guys know what dandelions look like. You know what other popular types of weeds look like. However, there are some, like crabgrass too, but there are some that you'll just look at it and be like, whoa, okay, like what is this thing? So if you're having some trouble, do some online research or take a picture to your local landscape supply store. These guys for the most part have pretty good knowledge on weeds. And if you just show them a picture and even create a relationship with them, or you can even start emailing them the pictures like I do, that really helps out too, because these guys know their stuff and they can really save you a lot of time. Purchasing the right product. Now, you need the right type of herbicide. If you that's the most popular route to go, to just spray them down and to destroy them. Many herbicides do have solutions where they do get rid of a ton of weeds, like hundreds of different variations and types, so you don't really have to worry about getting specific ones. However, there are some weeds that do need a specific type of herbicides, which specifically caters to that type of weed. One of them is like Japanese steelgrass. Japanese steelgrass, there's very few solutions on the market that work with that. You can't really kill it by normal means. So check the label as well on the back before you do purchase it. Check the ingredients, and also like a lot of times the labels will tell you the type of weeds that it does eliminate for you too. So Step number 3, mix according to the label. So the labels will have two different things. It's going to tell you how to kill the weeds both by acreage as well as, and some of them will also give you spot treatment as well, which is for a homeowner, that's going to probably be the route you're going to take. Acreage is more so for the lawn companies that have the giant 200-gallon tanks and they just go around and they use a hose to spray. But they do also, some of them do also have the directions for homeowners where you're just spot spraying. So it'll give you like per gallon and per 1,000 square feet, turf square feet versus an acre. So that's really good for that as well. So make sure to check the back of that label. Spray away. Let's just get to it. You only just need to spray enough to cover the area. Sometimes a lot of people go overboard, which with how much herbicide they put at once on it. You don't really need to do that. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of material. And a lot of times, sometimes you can even risk injuring the grass. Now, even though some of these herbicides are selective, meaning that they are supposed to only kill the weed and not the grass, unfortunately, if you do go overboard with it, it sometimes does end up injuring the grass. The grass is not fully invincible to it, so be really careful with that. Step number 5, follow up after your initial spray. I would say probably wait a few weeks. If it looks like they're completely yellowing and dying out, you don't need to spray it again. But if you notice that they're yellowing out a little bit, or if it's not working at all, go ahead and wait out a couple weeks and then go ahead and just reapply the herbicide. Sometimes you need to spread it a little bit thicker if that is the case. Important tips regarding weeds. Now, don't spray when it's too hot outside. Some weed types, some herbicides, that doesn't matter. One of them being Celsius is one of them, and that's actually for warm season grasses, where like centipede, zoysia, that actually you can spray. It doesn't matter how hot it is. But the many herbicides you can only spray at a certain temperature, and I would say like the general consensus is around 85 degrees is the absolute cap where you can go ahead and spray them. So otherwise, like, you do risk on damaging the grass. And so sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here. But so because of that, early mornings and late afternoons do provide a better opportunity for it, because during the early afternoons is when it's the hottest, around 12 or 1 o'clock is where you're going to usually get the higher temperatures. During the summer season, this is really problematic. That's why during the summertime you see weeds just coming out like wildfire. It's not just because the grass is having a harder time combating it because of the lack of moisture. It is also because it's just, whether you have a lawn company or whether you're doing it yourself, it's just really, you just can't spray during those mid hours. So it leaves less leeway for you going ahead and doing that. Wear protective gear and clothing. I mean, this one's a given, but it's still really important to say, guys. Make sure you protect yourself. Long jeans, long sleeves, safety goggles, as much as you can handle. Excuse me. Another thing too, you can't seed right away after you spray. This one's really important, and I need to mention this as well. Many selective herbicides, they contain ingredients which, once sprayed, they linger within the soil until they're fully absorbed. Dicamba is a really popular one. If you use something like Three-Way is a really popular brand for selective, just killing weeds inside grass without injuring the grass. Dicamba is one of those that you can't spread grass seed into the lawn and onto the soil until it's been fully absorbed and dissolved. And dicamba and some of these herbicides take 3 to 4 weeks until they're fully absorbed. If you do try to spread the grass seed while the residue's still there, it's gonna die out completely. It's not gonna be, the grass seedlings are, they're like babies. They're not very powerful. They can't really take too much. So even that residue will end up killing them off. Stay on the offensive. Weeds, unfortunately, is one of those things where it's like, they're always there. It doesn't matter. It does help to have a healthy lawn, is because it does reduce the amount of weeds that do end up spreading. However, there isn't a lawn no matter how well you do, there is not a lawn that's completely immune to weeds. It's that there are lawns that are more immune, but they're not entirely immune. You're always going to have 1 or 2 weeds growing in there. So make sure you just stay on the offensive. Make sure you keep eliminating, keep working on it. And then eventually, you just got to maintain it after that. Fun fact over here, actually, you can spread grass seed safely after 72 hours after spraying Roundup, actually. And I'm pretty sure everybody knows, you know what Roundup is. I think everybody does. But if you do have a lawn that's just completely, like, you know, I mean, you're like, listen, like, I need to just kill the whole thing. Roundup is a good option for that. And the beautiful thing with it, unlike some of these selective types, Roundup and other non-selective herbicides, they don't leave residue within the soil, and you can spray or you can spread the grass seed after just 72, 3 days. That's another really cool thing to really keep in mind. Spreading lime is probably the only optional service we have over here. The reason is going back to, if you recall when we were discussing the pH, spreading lime is a solution used to affect the pH. It alters the alkalinity, and this, in direct proportion if done properly, it increases the amounts of nutrients available for your plants down the road. How do you know if you need it? Again, you go off the pH level based on the soil test results. And if you're using the results from agronomics lab, a lot of times they will tell you exactly how much lime you need to be spreading on the lawn. So that's another reason to go for that specific type of soil test. The when should you apply it and how much? Now, as far as when to apply it throughout the year on a broad term, there's a lot of controversy on when's the best time to do it. There's a lot of people that say the springtime's the best time to do it, but there's actually people that even say winter is the best time to do it. And the reason for that is depending on the type of lime that you get. There's fast acting, there's slow acting lime, and the slow acting one, some people argue is a little bit better. I think it just depends on the yard's needs, but the slow acting one can sometimes take up to 6 months to actually fully take effect. And that's why people say to do it in winter time if it's not too cold and it's not going to freeze the lawn, because during that time the grass isn't really growing. However, it's going to get the process going on that lime, that slow release lime, so that it can go ahead and start altering that pH. So because if you do it in the springtime and use a slow release one, I mean, you're not going to get the results quickly enough to really see an effect until fall time. But hey, it might be too late for that. If you look at the diagram over here, guys, check soil test results. Again, if you took it to a local lab, you'll see some terminology on that says 80 pounds per 1,000 square feet. Now, per 1,000 square feet means that it's a unit of measurement used in the lawn care industry when we're checking how much solution we need to be putting down within your lawn. We measure the lawn, or a homeowner, if you want to measure the lawn yourself. The popular unit of measure is per 1,000 square feet. So 1,000 square feet of your lawn is how many pounds of the solution that we're going to be putting on it. With lime, I would say this as a fair warning: with lime, you can't put too much on it at once, and that's another controversial issue, like the when you should be applying it. You can't really put too much lime down at once. I would say probably at most 50 pounds per 1,000 square feet, but even that might be pushing it a little bit. And it also have the calculation right here if you want to multiply the lime needed by the turf area. Not too difficult to figure out. If you want to take a look at it, you can pause the video. I'm not going to really explain it because it speaks for itself. But if you want to pause the video, take a look at it, you're more than welcome to do so. The other tip I actually did not mention that I wanted to real quickly for you guys is if you're planning on spreading lime, let's say you do the soil test and you are going to be spreading, you need to spread lime for it, or you prefer to, in order to get the results you need for the grass seed, don't do it in conjunction with the fertilization. And the reason for it is because for some reason lime and fertilizer has a really bad chemical reaction with one another, where if you do spread the lime around at the same timetable as fertilizer, it's gonna dissolve and release some of the chemicals of the fertilizer itself, and you're not gonna get everything out of it, and the fertilizer is just not gonna be as effective. You're not gonna get those beneficiary effects. So don't do it in conjunction. I would say at the minimum wait 2 weeks for it, but even 2 weeks might be pushing a little bit. If you can help it, don't do it at all with one another during the fall season. However, if you really need to, wait at least 2 weeks before you do, and spread the lime first. Yeah, so spread the lime first. I had to think about it for a second. I'm like, wait, fertilizer, lime? No, lime. I would spread the lime first for it. So applying, moving from lime to fertilizer now. Fertilizer imperative to maximum seed growth. You need to fertilize the lawn. You absolutely need to. You need a fertilizer that's strong in phosphorus. Phosphorus specifically helps the soil with root development, and it's perfect for grass seedlings. Those guys are they're weak, they're babies. You need to have an element that does promote growth in root development. So make sure you go for fertilizer with that. They're commonly known as fall fertilizer or starter fertilizer. If you guys want to go buy it from your local landscape supply store, you just tell them, hey, I need some fall fertilizer, starter fertilizer, or better yet, if you have the soil test, hey, show them that number. Be like, hey, right here, buddy. So you go ahead and do it that way as well. Um, the fertilizer, so right here, and the tip right here I put down, spread the fertilizer either before aeration seeding or in conjunction. But you know what? Like there's been a lot of discussion in the industry that putting it afterwards as well works well too. And honestly, I'm starting to believe it. So, with this tip, you can still follow this, but at the same time, if you want to spread it afterwards, you can do that as well. A couple weeks after you spread the grass seed, go ahead and do that. If you can if in conjunction, if you have an irrigation system or if you have the sprinklers out and you can go ahead and water the fertilizer down to the ground, or if you can time it so that it's before a time when the rain comes down, go ahead and do that, and that's really going to maximize the effects of it and make sure it just gets into the ground right there. Going into so I want to continue with the fertilizer. Going into this, guys, you'll notice that there's these big three numbers on all the fertilizer bags, and each of these numbers represents an element. Now we have nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Potassium is just short for that. So nitrogen it's the most important, it's the most crucial element. Nitrogen is probably the most crucial element of all time, but like scientists might not want to argue with me about that. It has so many crucial functions for the plant, grass included. And if you see right here, creating food through photosynthesis, hey, listen, like if you remember science class, you all know how important that was. It was all over the exams. The thing with nitrogen as well, that the one thing I want to mention about nitrogen is that it's hard to determine how much nitrogen your lawn needs based off a soil exam. It's because there's so much variance, so many just variables between it. So if you don't get results from that, whether you take it to a lab or if you try doing it yourself, don't fret. However, at that point, I would just look at a general schedule for your specific grass type, and typically just follow the general schedule. It'll be like, hey, listen, during this time of the year, you should be putting like so and so amount of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet, or something along those lines. Phosphorus, again, like we discussed this on the last slide, the phosphorus is crucial for root development, transfer energy from one point to another for the plant. You're gonna really need this, guys. So if you're really low in phosphorus, make sure you get a phosphorus heavy fertilizer. Potash is more of an enhancer, serves as a catalyst, or like kind of like an add-on, but it's still really beneficial. I mean, if it wouldn't be amongst these two, if it wasn't, it does a little bit of everything. But it's like the jack of all trades, master of none. It's not like nitrogen, phosphorus, where it really excels at anything, but it's not bad at anything either. It does a little bit of everything, so it's good to have. Next slide, how to calculate your fertilizer application rate. Now, you can always check the bag of the bag of the fertilizer if you guys just want a general way to do this. It's not the optimal way to do it because we want to go off the soil exam results and see how much for your yard specifically you need to be putting down. However, if you do want to follow the back of those bags and the labels, it doesn't hurt, and it's still a good thing to do if you haven't done a soil test and you don't have that option. It's always better to do it than not do it, right? How we calculate it over here, if you notice on this slide right here, guys, on the important, you need to know the surface area of your turf. Now, this is important if you want to optimize how much you're spreading. You want to measure the square footage of your lawn and just the turf specifically, because when you do that, it'll let you know how you can calibrate this fertilizer spreader and how much you can broadcast based on the results of the soil test to spread off of. So, and it plus it's just good to have, if you when you have those results, it's a good measurement and dimensions to have. So down the road, because you only need to do it once, right? Unless you expand the area or you move, you only need to do it one time, and then you will have that number for your property for the rest of your days over there. So just it's a one-time thing. It's annoying to do it the first time, perhaps, but whether you do it yourself or hire someone to do it, it's a great number to have. So check the soil test results. Absolutely. Math, baby. Yes. Some of the best explanations are given with examples. Michael, there you go. Genius level, baby. So for the soil test results, let's say you take a look at it, and it calls for 1 pound of nitrogen, half a pound of phosphorus, and half a pound of potash. Divide each number by the lowest weight in this example. So the lowest weight being that half a pound right there. So 1 divided by half a pound equals 2. Half a pound divided by half a pound is 1, and then so on. This means you need an application fertilizer of 2, 1, 1. Now, the fertilizer application obviously does not need to be those exact numbers. It can also be a ratio. It could be higher numbers, but the ratio still needs to be the same. So, meaning that it could be 10, 5, 5. So, and you see how that goes right there. If you divide 10 by 2, you get 5. So like the numbers are still the same as far as the measurement. So as long as you get something that's the exact same ratio as it, no matter how high the numbers are, I probably didn't explain that too well, but no matter how high the numbers are, you guys can do that. Now, now we're into during, and now we're into the core action, baby. Aeration. Now I'm going to discuss aeration specifically. If you're looking to till the yard or detach the yard, I'm not going to discuss that in this video specifically, perhaps for the future. I do think aeration is more important to detaching. Wait, is this a picture of it that, oh geez, like, yeah, that's not even an aerator. Okay, but just ignore the picture. I'll probably need to change that down the road, but hey, listen, we're just gonna ignore that. But so just imagine that being an aerator. What an aerator does, it'll plug in 3-inch holes for your soil, and it's gonna open up the space for the grass seed. It pretty much creates an entry point for the grass, so that when you do have those 3-inch holes and you do spread the grass seed along and broadcast it, it does have a really easy way to get in through that soil. The second thing, it breaks up compacted soil. You've probably heard of doing aeration even without grass seeding before, and it's really good to do if your soil is really hard and it needs to be broken up. But that's another really great feature of aeration. It does break up that soil. Aeration you only need to perform once a year. Unless you want to do it once in spring, like I said, you want to maybe do it once during the fall time as well, that's fine. But in general, though, you only really need to do it once a year, just to break it up that one time. Do it in conjunction with seeding is the best time for that. So, just ignoring that grass seed picture, you guys don't say anything about that. Now we're going into spraying the grass seed. Now this is the good stuff. This is the stuff that's gonna make it grow, everybody. Make sure your grass type is cool season, the biggest factor of it. And people are usually like, huh, Michael, what are you talking about? Your grass type needs to be cool season. Now you've probably heard of grass being either warm season or cool season. You need to have a cool season type of grass. On the next slide, I'm going to show you guys a chart that shows you what a cool season grass is, what grasses are under cool season, what constitutes it under warm season. Pay attention to the climate and temperature as well. With global warming, it's every year it's getting hotter, the polar ice caps melting and such. You need to be careful about the knowing when to apply the grass seed. Now, one thing with our industry is that because of the climate and temperatures as a whole, September has usually been the best time for grass seed. However, at least in the transition zone here in North Carolina, on the east, on this, I think we're south technically, but southeast still, it's best to do it in early October now because of the nature of the climate. Due to global warming, due to the temperatures drastically changing, I mean, you guys know how it is if you live here. We're feeling temperatures in summer during mid-September, late September. We're still, sometimes on some days we're in the 90s, and for cool season grasses and for fall grass seeding, it's not ideal. So if you can help it, or if your lawn care company can do it during early October, please do so. Now, if you do end up doing it during early October, keep in mind that the window is very small, because if um, leaves, like what you need to do before leaves start falling and the trees start losing their leaves, because the problem with that is that when the leaves do get on top of the when they do get on top of the lawn, they do block out a lot of important features for the grass. So you want to make sure you do it. It doesn't give you a long window, probably only 2 weeks between beginning October to mid-October, maybe 3 weeks if you're lucky. However, please, 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 if you can do it between those times, it's ideal. There's no such thing as no such thing. There's such thing as too much grass seed. Yep, just like fertilizer, baby. If you put too much grass seed down, it is a problem. The problem with too much grass seed is this. If you put too much grass seed down, maybe initially it might seem like, oh wow, that was really smart. However, again, going back to the example of there's only so many nutrients available for the soil. Just as how weeds compete with grass, grass also competes with grass. So it competes with itself as well. It's still a plant. So when you start getting to the springtime and the summertime, you're going to start noticing areas of your grass dying out. It's not because of lack of water. It's not because of the weeds like doing its magic. It's not because of fungus or anything like that. It's because there's just too much grass being grown, and there's only so many nutrients, and some of them are losing the competition and they're dying out. So make sure that you and plus it's good because you don't have to waste money and materials. Like you can go ahead and put an even amount, but make sure you do put an even amount, not too much. Only save grass seed for areas that don't seem like they got too much of great growth going on. Check your grass seed type again. Here's a grass type chart for you guys. Check to see if your grass falls under cool season. If it's under cool season, this video is for you. If you have warm season grass, if you have Bermuda, if you have centipede grass, if you have Zoysia, listen, you're watching the wrong video. I'm sorry, I love you guys. If you want to keep watching it, I love you for it, but it's not going to help you this year. Around May time, late spring is your time of the year to get this done. However, for cool seasons, this is the time of the year to get it done. This is the ideal time to seed your grass and your lawn. More important tips regarding grass seed: the quality of the seed does matter. Now, there's different brands you can get. There's different variations of the specific type of grass seed that you have, but the quality of the grass seed does matter. That I found. I've used all different kinds of it, and I've found great results with more premium type grass seeds, and I've also found worse results with worse types of grass seeds. So any type of grass seed is good to have, but if you can afford to get the good stuff, if you can afford to, if you go to your local landscaper or check online, see what the premium level grades are, check your reviews, and make sure that you're getting a good type if that's what you're aiming for. If cost is an important factor for you, then as long as you get something, it's still good. It's just not ideal. Spread at least 3 weeks before leaves start falling. Again, like that is the problem with doing it in early October, even though the temperatures are ideal for it. That once the leaves start falling, it does lower the chance for your grass seed to do well for itself. And as you know, grass seed takes a while to start growing. It takes a while for it to absorb all the moisture and nutrients and for it to start growing. And sometimes there's certain areas of your lawn that aren't going to do well. Maybe you didn't spread enough grass seed in it. Maybe you didn't take care of the areas beforehand with the lime, with the fertilizer to get that done for you. Maybe you needed to use a type of grass seed that caters to shady areas. You know, there's grass seed that does that as well. If you are in a situation like that, then you're gonna need to. Sorry, I lost my train of thought again. But it is important that you spread it at least 3 weeks beforehand. The third thing is spreading wheat straw. Now, I only said it like that because spreading wheat straw is an add-on. I hate this stuff. I hate spreading wheat straw. But I will say that as far as protection, wheat straw, there's no equal. It does so well to protect bare areas. If you're not really doing overseeding, but if you're trying to do a whole rejuvenation, if you're the type that you spread Roundup and you killed off the entire yard and you just got bare areas and you need something to protect the seeds, wheat straw is crucial for that. It will protect it from erosion. It will protect it from birds coming down and picking the grass seeds as well, and just from other different types of elements from nature. So that's really important. Over here, if you want any more tips, we have an article written for spreading grass seed. and it's just more advanced tips that you guys can see if you do go there. You can click on that link by going to the article on our website. Now, objective number 6 is optimizing your watering schedule. Watering is really overlooked, and I mean it seems like it's not, but it's so imperative that you guys water. Now, the reason that it's so overlooked is because and oftentimes overlooked from people that don't have irrigation, and I get it. Irrigation is so helpful for the lawn. It's annoying to keep upkeep, and it's really expensive to install, but irrigation is so efficient for your lawn if you do have that installed. And oftentimes I found that a lot of people that don't have irrigations just don't really try to water their lawn. They're like, hey, listen, like I don't really want to try because I don't have irrigation. And I don't want to walk around with a hose, and I don't want to have to go out there and put a sprinkler on the ground and then have to manually come out and put it back. If I definitely understand that, and if you don't have the money for the irrigation, I get that too. It's really expensive. But if you can even do it for the first 2 weeks, please do. Those initial 2 weeks are so important for grass seed, and it's really going to be the difference maker if it's going to grow or not. Even all these steps connect, even if your fertilizer is perfect, even if the line looks great, even if you spread grass seed evenly like a boss, if it doesn't have the proper moisture, it's just not going to grow. It needs it, and we need to drink water or else we'll die as human beings. Grass and lawns are the same. It needs that moisture. More tips regarding the watering schedules. Again, going off alternatives to irrigation. If you want to use a watering hose, like I also made a chart over here for you guys. You know, oscillating sprinklers. If you want to purchase those, you can get those from Home Depot, Lowe's, Home Improvement. You can go to your local hardware store. More than likely they have them. You guys can install them. They're really easy to use. There's more advanced ones now as well that you can even install a timer on them along the hose where they'll turn off automatically for you. So not a complete replacement for irrigation, but they still really help. The third one right here, pray for rainfall. Listen, that's the old classic right there, but man, it's great. When the best is if you don't have irrigation and you put that grass seed down, and then like right before you put it down, you get just days of rainfall. It's really bad if it's too heavy. If you get heavy rainstorms with heavy erosion, you have embankments, it really sucks. But if you can help it and you can put it right before rainfall, it's really helpful, and that really, really does help the grass seed out a lot. On the right hand side, I have a schedule for you guys. It's just a basic schedule. It doesn't go too in depth, but excuse me, it does really help you guys as far as what to be doing for the first 2 weeks over here. Weeks 3 to 5, and maintaining afterwards, you're slowing down, and just and on and on and on. And that is it. Listen, guys, you know, I just really appreciate you guys checking out this video, and really appreciate you guys taking the time to look through this with me. Sorry about the stuttering. Sorry about like going and everything. I'm still trying to get really good at this. However, it really means a lot that you watch this video all the way through. Hopefully you did, and you didn't just skip all the way to the end. But again, if you want to check out the slideshow itself, I have the link in the video description below. Go ahead and just click on that. You can read at your own leisure. If you have any questions at all, let us know in the comments, or go ahead and you can also contact us by going to our website. I would definitely love, and sending us an email, I would definitely love to answer any questions that you guys may have and help out in any way that I possibly can, or lawn appreciation as a whole can help in any possible way they can. And of course, another thing that would really help us out is if you guys can subscribe, as well as let us know what you thought about the video. Any form of feedback really helps. We really want to get good at this and really try to provide as much value as possible. Thank you so much again, guys. God bless. Have a wonderful day, and you know, happy seeding. Take care. Bye-bye.